right, I'll get you 1 like on the video already. Yep.
I see 3 likes.
It's in the Discord.
Good news, I understood.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to SEC Nightly. As always, I'm your humble host, Brooks Austin. I haven't said humble host in a good minute, but, I'm not so humble. If you guys have met me on social media, you would know that by now. But I am your humble host, Brooks Austin. This is Monday night, which means I'm bringing you a dose of nothing but rants. Show's going to be just a tad bit different tonight because I'm all by myself. Okay, the fancy producer, Ditko, is not here. If you notice, I got a little sweat on the brow. That is because I was managing and manning all of the pre-production duties by myself. So the studio had to get set up by somebody, so I did it. Shout out to Ditko. Hope you travel safe back home from out there seeing your lady. We'll see you when you get back next week. Great show planned for you guys tonight. Spring practice. It's here, guys. It is absolutely here, and I'm super stoked to finally have some football to be covering, right? That's always nice. Let me turn that. I know I just killed the music for y'all. Let's kill it for me, man. That was way louder on my end than it even was on yours, so that was extremely distracting for me. I hope it wasn't as distracting for you. But, yeah, spring football is kicking off. A lot of different schools have already had spring football. I mean, it's kind of been in the swing of things. I think the first big school, I guess it's a big name school nowadays, first school I saw that was doing spring practice this year was Coastal Carolina. I think they were in spring ball by like end of January. I think some programs realized, that last year with what happened with COVID, it's not, can't take the ability to have spring practice for granted. I thought we saw some football that was impacted last year by a very, very conduced offseason and a very different offseason. A lot of adjusting from a lot of people. Some handled it more than others. So last year, I think, if anything, described to us what the importance of spring practice was. But tonight, we're going to go through it on a whole nother level in terms of what the importance actually is, what it means for college programs to actually put together a schedule for you and what college football players are going through right now. We'll give you the final spring preview before spring kicks off tomorrow for the University of Georgia. And finally, man, guys, the Discord's been rumbling, okay? It's been rumbling. It's been bumbling. It's been stumbling, okay? And it's been talking about our boy Thor. And we're going to get to Thor later tonight. That is not his government-issued name. We found out his government-issued name tonight before the show. Not quite close to Thor. But anyways, we're going to bring Thor on tonight because guys on the Discord have been telling me, hey, man, Thor might have solved college football. He might have solved all of the problems with college football. So we'll bring Thor on tonight to see how we go about solving college football and the problems that are with college football. But let's talk about spring, right? It's here. Everybody been wanting on it. I mean, I've been dying for some spring football just for content basis, right? Or for content needs. It's nice to have, right? I think our ratings and whatnot, our viewership tonight might not reflect it, but our viewership and ratings over on the site, just this morning, people woke up and knew football was in the air. So they started reading more and more, and it's very, very important. But how important? And what does it look like? And I'll tell you right off the top, it depends on every single school. What is your situation with, and what is your situation within your program? That'll tell you what spring practices look like, right? Are you a veteran football team? Are you a young football team? Are you a team that's coming off of a long football season, right? Are you still banged up from the previous season? Did you play into late mid-January like some of these programs do almost perennially, right? Again, are you old? Are you young? Are you experienced? Do you need experience? But no matter what the situation looks like, right? No matter how old you are, no matter how experienced your roster is or whatever, it all boils down to spring practice all boils down to answering questions that you have on your roster, right? Identifying where your problems or where your areas of need are or your areas of concern and addressing those through competition on your current roster during these 15 practices that you are allotted by the NCAA in spring ball. Okay, so that's where it starts, right? Where are questions? And if you're looking at a football program like Georgia, there's not a whole lot of questions, right? But there are some. There's some warranted questions when you look up and down the roster of what they got going on in Athens. So let's just address those, and that'll kind of tell us where, I call them the battleground positions, right? The high octane, high energy levels that come out of Georgia's football practices this fall this spring, will come from these position groups. These guys that are battling for playing time in September. Meanwhile, it is March. We understand that, but as you will see, who wins the job in March and in spring practice, 9 times out of 10 wins that job that fall, depending on some type of injury or somebody just having an insane 3 months during, in between spring and fall ball and just becoming an entirely different person. But it doesn't happen very often.
You're good in the room. I don't know about on YouTube.
Yeah,
Mic
back
check.
to how it was before.
I think I'm back now. Y'all let me know. I think I am back on the audio. I don't know what happened. I apologize. Check volume levels. Y'all let me know. Discord, I know I told you guys to be quiet, but y'all are over there. If you could, just chime in. Give me an auditory, you're good. Or, over there on... It sounds like I'm good. I can hear it in the background. So we're good now. I appreciate it, guys. I'm sorry. It sounds like I had a shortage in the cord. We are good. So let's get back to the corner discussion, right? It's the big one. It's the problem everybody has, not necessarily a problem, but it's the concern that everybody has. That daggone chat is going wild right now. I appreciate y'all for your help. Again, I am short-manned tonight. I am undermanned and over my skis, but it's all right. We're bouncing back here. So corner. To me, it's Keely Ringo and who else? I think that's what we've talked about over on our Patreon account. And if you're not signed up, please do. I want to let you guys know that we are having I know Jeremiah put it out on Dogs Daily's podcast that it's like an open to everybody bracket. I would prefer that NCAA bracket stay between the fellows in the family over there on Discord and over there on Patreon. So for that, I'm going to start a bracket, an NCAA bracket. I know this is off topic, but an NCAA bracket for our Discord and for our Patreon account. And I've put up $100 just to kind of say thank you for the winner. Whoever wins it, you get a $5 buy-in from everybody that was in the Patreon that jumped into the bracket, plus an additional hundo for me. So it should be a pretty good size pot over there. So if you want to hop in on that, please let us know. Back to the corner discussion. I don't even know how I got to that. I know why. Because I've been telling the folks on the Patreon account, this is Keely Ringo's position. It's his spot. The other one is the question mark. Who's going to be his running mate? Who's going to be his Robin to Keely Ringo's Batman? It's obviously between Amir Speed, Jalen Kimber, and Nyland Green. Everything is going to be evaluated, and I mean everything. How well you go about studying your playbook, how well you go about passing your playbook test that you're going to have in meetings that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Obviously, how you look in practice. 1-on-1s will be vital. 7-on-7 will be vital. 11-on-11 will be vital. Everything, absolutely everything at all these positions will be evaluated top to bottom, including what you've been doing over the last 2 months in terms of how have you been working out. And what has Coach Scott Cochran been telling Kirby? What has he been relaying to Kirby during these last 2 months or 3 months that all of these guys have been on campus, right? Basically since January with Nyland in that case. My other question I have, and I know everybody's excited to see Nolan Smith this year. I get it, but I got questions about the jack position. We've laid it out here on this platform multiple times before. Azeez Ojulari, everyone wants to talk about his ability to get after the pass or get after the quarterback and do all that good stuff. That's great. He was great during his time as a pass rusher. It's what's going to make him a potential first-round draft pick, seeming like a lock for the first-round draft or of the NFL draft. But what's been most impressive about watching him over the last 2 years is what he does in the run game, what he allows Georgia to do in the run game, and his ability to set the edge, maintain, turn and spill on pulling guards, do all that kind of stuff, set the edge hard and violently, down in and down out, and not having to worry about whether or not that guy's going to get reached. I think I can count on one hand how many times over the last 2 years I saw an opponent run inside or stretch zone at Azeez Ojulari and the left tackle or the right tackle reach him, get to the outside shoulder of him and allow the offense or the running back or the ball carrier to get outside and have an explosive play. Now, on the other hand, I think Nolan does a really good job of doing that kind of turn and spill stuff, but he lacks some elite length measurements, okay? He's not Azeez Ojulari stupid long, okay? He's not 6'4" and able to tie his shoes without bending over. He's about 6'3", maybe 6'2 3/4", okay? He's about 225 pounds. He'll play at 225, even though he'll probably go into camp around 240. He's probably playing this spring at about 235, okay? He bulks up in the offseason. What does it look like in September? What does it look like, starting in September? What does it look like in December when you're playing for SEC championship game? Those are the questions, right? And behind him, I know Georgia hasn't asked Adam Anderson to play on early downs, but guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to spell Nolan Smith next year. You're going to have to, okay? You're going to have to get Nolan off the field if he is your starting jack. So who's it going to be? MJ Sherman, I'm looking at you. Adam Anderson, I'm looking at you. Can you set the edge? Can you maintain the edge? Can you play with solid rush integrity on early downs? And guess what? If you can't, then you'll stay doing what you've been doing, which is basically just coming in on third and medium, third and long, and rushing the passer. Georgia has had a luxury in the sense that over the last 2 years, they can just throw Nolan out there for meaningful snaps and meaningful experience and allow Azeez to stay relatively fresh. That luxury is no longer there. Now you've got a junior in Nolan Smith that you're looking at and you're saying, hey, man, like, now's your time. If we survive, it's because of what Nolan Smith did in terms of his development from year 2 to year 3. Because there wasn't a ton of development between year 1 and year 2, I'll be honest with you. And a lot of that happens to do with opportunity. I get that. And he'll get ample opportunity this year. There is no doubt about that. But what does it look like? What's the development look like at that jack position? That's one of my questions. The other one, inside backer defensively is going to be fun as hell to watch. I mean, absolutely a blast this spring. And I know we're all talking about getting to watch it. I'll be 100% frank with you guys. I don't expect us to get nothing in terms of the media. We're going to still be stuck on Zoom calls, all that good stuff. You're not going to get very much practice footage other than what the team puts out on their Twitter account. I know Florida didn't allow media in, but they sent them like literally 25 minutes worth of practice footage the first day. The media ran with it, put footage everywhere, and then the next thing you know, even Dan Mullen was like, I don't know about that. Let's stop giving them so much. And then the next thing you know, there's nothing, no content, nothing coming out of that. So it's going to be a lot about digging in on sources, right? And if you were on Patreon this morning, you got, 4 nugs this morning, guys? I think three pieces of intel, one about the defensive backs, one about the running backs, and a couple about recruits. Okay, so that's the place to be if you want, inside information, if you want information on how camp has gone or how camp is going. You're not going to get a whole lot other than Kirby coming up to a press conference and a podium and telling you what he wants you to know or what he wants you to hear. There will probably not be any evidence to back it up. And even if media was allowed, guys, they don't allow you to see much anyways. You're watching, stretch, indie period, stuff like that. So that's not where the information comes from. The information comes from digging sources, like all the great insiders and whatever reporters do. So check us out over there on the Patreon. Yeah, I got some folks in the comment section telling y'all to hit that thumb up button. Look, I'm not one of those people that's going to take time out, even though I'm literally doing it right now, to beg for your support. But if you could, just do it. I mean, just hit the like button. It's not that big of a deal. Appreciate y'all. It really does help out the stream. And it doesn't really help. It helps out the stream live, but it really helps out the stream post. When we get done. Inside backer though, back to it. Man, Nakobe Dean. Not going to be practicing this spring because he had labrum surgery. I've played with a few linebackers in my career that played through labrum surgeries or played through torn labrums. They're insane people. Every single one of them. Every single one I've ever met, insane person. So, yeah, Nakobe, insane person. Got a pain tolerance and a pain threshold that is much, much higher than you and I's. Probably you and I's combined. But with him being out, you're going to see, it's going to be fun to watch. Like I said, it's going to be Channing Tindall, Quay Walker, absolutely battling out. They're going to be playing together, I would imagine, on most possessions, most reps during practice because they're the top 2 backers that's left on that roster with Rian Davis kind of getting mixed in and things like that. But Quay Walker and Channing Tindall, it's going to be alpha versus alpha all spring practice, everywhere they go. If I was Glenn Schumann, I would make them go 1 and 2, 2 and 1 every single day. It would be Quay up first, Channing up next, Channing up first, Quay up next in every single freaking rep that we did all year or all spring. And I would be 100% real with them. I'd be like, look, guys, y'all know what this is. You know exactly what this is. That guy over there, number 17, that's doing rehab with Coach Cochran, y'all know who that dude is. And y'all know that there's only one spot left. Okay, so barring that guy over there getting hurt next season, only one of you two are playing on a down-in and down-out basis. Who's it going to be? Okay, I was watching The Dark Knight the other night, and you know how the Joker goes, I'm in the mood for a little bit of aggressive expansion. And then he throws the pool stick down in between the 2 bodyguards, and he's like, but I can only take one of you. That's exactly what it's like. I mean, Schumann's going to be throwing the broken pool stick in between Quay Walker and Channing Tindall and saying, all right, I got one room. We're in aggressive expansion mode, but I only got room for one. So who's it going to be? Inside backer, really, really fun to watch. So those are my three defensively. What's corner look like? What's jack look like? What's inside backer look like? If I was going to throw another one in there, I kind of want to know what's going on at star. I thought Latavius Bernee played probably of all the first-time starters like in that game. We'll throw Warren Erickson in there, but even though it wasn't his first. So I'm talking Warren Erickson, Xavier Truss, Arian Smith got a lot of playing time in that football game. Latavius Bernee, Tyree Stevenson got his first start at corner. Of all those guys getting their first kind of feet wet moment out there during that Sugar or Peach Bowl game, I thought Latavius Bernee played the best. But what does it look like behind him? God forbid he gets hurt this spring. What's that look like? So flip over to offensively. Hey, man, offensive line-wise, I want to know what Xavier Truss is doing to hold off to what I called first-round draft picks coming out of high school. Broderick Jones is everything about Broderick Jones, from his head down to his baby, like pinky toe, says first-round draft pick. Same thing for Amarius Mims. Can Xavier Truss hold him off? Because here's what I've learned about Kirby Smart. Whether it's Game 4 last year going to Alabama and Julian Rochester getting the first reps at the backup 3 technique as opposed to Jalen Carter, or whether it's, taking Eason over Fromm or taking Fromm over Fields, or, at whatever example you want to bring me, every single time Kirby Smart has had the opportunity or been forced to make the decision of, hey, you either play the experienced guy, you either play the old guy, or you play the young, maybe slightly more talented guy. Every single time that's happened, he's taken the experience. Maybe to the his own detriment, but he does it every single time. He takes the experienced guy. Does that happen here, despite, Xavier not really being that experienced? I mean, he's a third-year football player this year. Don't get it wrong. Spent some time in the system, spent some time in the program. He is, quote-unquote, an upperclassman, if we're going to take him based off of his class. But he's not super experienced, right? But he's got more than the other guys. And the thing that I know about Xavier, from what I've been told, is that he has no mental, bust. There are no, oh, coach, I'm sorry, I forgot to down block. Ain't none of that. It ain't, oh, sorry, coach, I didn't see the blitzing corner. It's not that. It's never that. He never misses mentally, and you're not going to have to worry about him being in the wrong spot. And if a 6 foot, for that matter, if a 6 foot damn near 8, 330-pound tackle is never in the wrong spot, is always at least standing in the right spot, by God, I'm going to tell you right now, I can win with that. I can win with that. What I can't win with is going up to Charlotte to play Clemson, who presumably will probably be 1 or 2 in the country. Georgia will be 2 or 3, one of those things, right? And what I can't have is my redshirt freshman or my true freshman tackle, whether it be left tackle or right tackle, completely blowing an assignment and getting JT Daniels lit up on national television week 1. We can't have that happen. So a slow start is not optimal, and it's not an option in 2021 for Georgia. So for that matter, when it comes to positions like this, you're going to have to see these young guys do absolutely everything they can to prove that not only are they the best player, because we know the projections tell us they're the best prospect, they're the best player, they have the highest ceilings. But if they're busting assignments, or if they're not in the right place at the right time, they cannot play. They cannot play, okay? Because you didn't start the season with San Jose State. You started it with daggum Clemson. So if they're not ready to play, if they're not 100% clean on their assignments, they're not going to play. And guys like Xavier Truss are going to hold them off this spring. So that's something I want to hear. It went in about midway through the first week and a half, because they've been doing walkthroughs. I know they have. And I've kind of heard some things. Midway through, spring practice, after Amarius Mims has gotten about 3 months worth of this playbook down, as Broderick Jones has gotten now about 14, 15 months worth of this playbook down. Do they stop with the mental assignment or mental bust? Do they stop with the mental lapses? Are they ready to go? Those are the things we need to be watching. Same thing at center, especially at center. The thing I don't worry about Cedric is, we showed you last week on the film sessions. That dude knows what the hell he's doing. I saw that week 2 against Auburn. Auburn comes to Athens week 2, and they're getting just thunderstruck in the middle of Sanford Stadium. And Cedric Van Pran goes out there midway through the fourth quarter, and he's not only IDing Mike identifications and all that, but he's telling his right guard what to do because Tate Ratledge don't know what the hell's going on, and he's telling his left guard what to do because Warren Erickson's been playing center the last 2 weeks, and they're giving it to the young buck here at Auburn. So guys were confused around him. He wasn't as a true freshman. So the mental busts aren't going to happen there. But again, experience, continuity with the quarterback, all those things come into play when we're talking about who's going to be the center of the football team. So those are the kind of guys that I want to be paying attention to because, again, where are the mental laps? Are there mental laps? Because if there are, Kirby's not going to play you. That has been proven over time. That's the reason he takes the experience over, the talent a lot of the times. Not all the times, but a lot of the time. All right, my next and my only other real question, other than backup quarterback, but guys, we've addressed that till we were blue in the face. I mean, blue in the face. Here's the deal about the backup quarterback. Well, I'll get purple in the face right here. You're not going to hear anything. First of all, he's not. I would imagine if Kirby Smart does what Kirby does, and I always like to preface these or maybe suffix these with telling you that, hey, P.S., I would do it the same exact way. Everything that man does to run his program as quietly as he does, with a big, 2 middle fingers to the media, making it as difficult as possible, I would do the same thing, if not worse. So I'm cool with it. But when it comes to the backup quarterback discussion, you won't hear jack shit out of Kirby Smart this spring. He's not going to do it. It's going to be, Carson. I bet Stetson Bennett starts with the second team in the G-Day game. I can almost guarantee it. Just because if we can avoid the conversation, if we don't have to have it, because it's not a relevant conversation. It's really not. Everybody right now going into 2021 knows who the dude is at quarterback. It's JT Daniels. All that other stuff doesn't matter. So he's not going to address it. And if he does, he's going to give you coach speak. And you should accept that coach speak and be cool with that coach speak because that's your coach protecting your young players from the fan base going, oh, Carson Beck, not the backup quarterback. Maybe it's time to leave. Or, oh, Brock Vandergriff, not the backup quarterback. Told you, maybe time to leave. Oh, and we got – it's just a conversation that if you don't have to have it, don't have it. So they won't have it. They'll avoid it this spring by making Stetson presumably the backup quarterback. And if he goes away from that, I'll be shocked. I'll be the first one to tell you I was wrong. Hot damn, Kirby gave me something to write about. Shout out to him. Again, I would do the same exact thing if it were my program. So don't get hot. All right. Running back, my last only real question. It's not even a question. We know it's deep, right? But what do the rep shares look like? It's the question that's going to be surrounding that running back room the rest of the season. What the hell does the rep share look like? I mean, we got to see it. And I do expect, and I was telling the Patreon guys today, we're giving out some free nugs right now, so everybody get your barbecue sauce ready. I do think they play the younger guys a lot this spring. Okay, you may not see it because all you're going to see and all you're going to really hear about is scrimmages, and then you'll get to see the G-Day game itself, and the older guys will probably get some good run. But Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, when they're running 12 periods a team, Kendall and Kenny probably going to get the lion's share of those reps. Dejon Edwards, Lavassier Carroll, they're going to be getting those reps. The two old guys, Zamir White and James Cook, they don't need to be running 12 plays a day in team period against the 1 or 2 defense. It's just not something they need. They don't need it. They've seen 1,000 reps in college. It's not something that they need right now. So they won't. I don't expect them to take a lot of reps this spring. All right. So we are. Excuse me. What are we? We're 30 minutes into the show at this point, and I've been taking phone calls, like actual physical phone calls. But tonight, we're doing a little something different. I told you our boy Thor's coming on. He's been hanging out in the lounge for a fat minute now, waiting to get in on this. But some of these OGs that are in here, JD, Jeremiah, Justin, and Thor, we'll get to you soon. Do any of you OGs that don't have a segment specifically dedicated to you tonight, do any of you guys feel like, adding into the discussion tonight? What are your thoughts and concerns about spring? Jeremiah, too, I just saw you unmute yourself. What do you got, brother?
I'm wondering how they're going to split the receiver reps with all the talent that we've got there now.
Yeah, I think that's a everybody eats kind of deal. There's going to be so many balls in the air this spring at Georgia that you ain't going to have to worry about, hey, did I get enough opportunities or did I get enough reps? I'm going to go through a practice schedule here in just a second and show you guys what it actually looks like in college football to be a college football player during this time of the year. And you're going to realize just how freaking hectic it actually can be. So, yeah, I don't think that's a concern, Jeremiah, but more so just about, like, you know, can we keep everybody healthy and can we keep everybody happy? That's the thing, right? Does George Pickens need to be catching 200 balls this spring? Probably not. We got RS Kua Red. Is that my boy Red? Is he in here unmuted? What you got for me, Red? Not. He just went back muted. He's scared. Scared. I ain't never known him to be scared. All right, we will get into our next segment since Jeremiah was the only one that had the huevos rancheros to get up in here and start the chatting. But no, I got a good one here for you. A good little segment that I'm not kind of proud. I am proud about. We'll put it on the big screen right here behind me. How about that? Y'all ain't gonna be able to see it, but I'm about to share a screen for you anyway, so don't even worry about it. Actually, I don't like it. It's too daggone bright. Let's pull it back over here. Okay. Huh. I don't think I screen share my screen share. It's always a great show, or it's always a great television right here when the guy can't figure out his own tech. This is a nightmare. Screw this.
Hey Brooks. The YouTube is saying no sound again.
Okay. How long they been saying no sound?
Can the people on YouTube hear us now?
Haven't been talking, but I think they should be able to hear me now. Man, I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I blame it on Dicko, honestly. I blame it all on Dicko. Can you hear me now? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Let's get the new comment. You're back on. All right. So I don't know where I lost you, but we're going to start from the top. What I've done here is I've created a schedule, okay, Monday through Sunday. All right. So, again, I based this all off an athlete that has a minimum of 12 credit hours. Now, what you'll know about college football is you have to pass at least 12 per semester to be available for the next semester, academically eligible for the next semester. Most athletes, like myself in college, you schedule at least, or you put on your schedule at least 15 hours. So in case you're failing one class and you have to go through ad drop, you can take care of that. Or if you just don't like a class and you get out of it, you can do that as well. So have 15 hours, get down to 12 if you've got to, if you really need some GPA repair or whatever that nonsense is going on right there. So you always have a chance to drop one. Now, this schedule behind me or on your screen right now is only set up for 12 credit hours. So somewhere in most college athletes' life, there is another class squeezed in right here. So let me just walk you through this. This is, again, a week in the life of a spring football athlete. Okay, I don't think you guys realize sometimes as fans, and maybe you do, maybe you played it yourself, just how busy college athletes are, because most college athletes complain about their life and how much their schedule is. My wife was a soccer player in college, same exact way. She hated her schedule because it was nonstop, just like this. All sports do it the same. So as you'll see, Monday, every morning, this is how I would do it. Every single morning, I put in on here that they were going to go to weights. You know, Monday morning, 6 a.m. weights. That's standard, okay? 8 a.m., you're heading off to econ, baby, on Monday morning. 10 a.m., you're going to intro to business. 12 p.m., we got our communications class. So we got 3 hours worth of class middle of the day. We do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Tuesday, we only take 2 classes. So I think I put 5 classes in here, either way. No, there's only 4. 2 o'clock, we got pre-practice. Now, pre-practice is different everywhere, okay? Pre-practice at some schools is, we're actually having a meeting. Pre-practice for some athletes, also different for athletes. Pre-practice for me was ice and stem on my ankles, ice and stem on my back, roll out the ankles, roll out the back, go get my ankles taped, and get to practice. So my pre-practice was different than, say, the quarterback that needed to watch a couple of extra reps of practice film before he heads off to the field. Everybody's pre-practice is different. That hour is dedicated for you to kind of collect yourself before you head off to the field. 3 to 6:30, a standard 3.5 hour practice. That's about, right when you account for all the periods that don't count. We'll talk about that in just a second. Then, of course, every night in college, especially for the younger guys, you have mandatory study hall, right? Mandatory study hall, okay? Ain't no options. It's mandatory. So that's kind of the day in the life and the week in the life, right? That's what it looks like. That's how busy you are. And as you can see, the really only off times are Saturday after your scrimmage, because you'll go through that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll have a practice every single day from 3 to 6:30. Saturday, you'll wake up. You'll go to pre-practice. You'll get taped. You'll do whatever you got to do, and then you'll go straight to your scrimmage. And your scrimmage will be in college. I mean, in spring practice, spring ball, it was 2-hour scrimmages. No shit. Like 11 on 11 for 2 hours straight. Most miserable thing you'll ever do in your life. It's literally like playing a 2-hour football game with no half times. That's it. You're just running and just going and going and going and hitting and hitting and hitting and competing. Sunday, you'll come in. You'll have a team meeting that morning to keep you from going out Saturday night. Duh. And then you'll have, I think that says some kind of rehab, right? You'll go in there, get ice and stuff, and then you'll have meetings, okay? Meetings are something that I didn't realize until I got into college that really consume your life. Like, it is daunting how many times we had to sit in meetings in college. And you're watching film, and you're talking special teams, and God forbid you're like me. Like, I had to play, I was playing center and was just the short snapper and the backup long snapper on special teams. So I had to go sit through meetings about, the L5 on kickoff, making sure he stays in his damn lane, all when all I do is snap the ball. So, yeah, miserable, right? Miserable. That's how meetings can really absorb your life. And, of course, all the other stuff is regular standard stuff. You got weights, duh. You got class, duh. You got meetings, duh. You got practice, duh. You got rehab, duh. And you got study hall, duh. All of it. So, again, as you can see, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, about your only time off. And Sunday afternoon, about your only time off. But, again, Saturday night, I mean, yeah, if you want to go get sloppy drunk, that's fine. But I'll see your butt at 7 a.m. in meetings the next morning on Sunday mornings. Okay? Enjoy that hungover. Not happening. Spring practice is a lifestyle. I mean, an absolute lifestyle. For 15 days, 15 practices spread out over about 30 days, it's miserable. It's absolutely miserable. So, yeah, it takes a bit out of you. Now, the other question I hear all the time is like, Brooks, what is an actual what does an actual practice look like? Like, I hear everyone talk about, like, you know, what does practice look like? Well, let me take you through it here. Hold on. Got to switch my mic settings every once in a while. All right, so I can turn around my fat butt. Now, here's what I did. Every football program I've ever played at, we go 5-minute periods. Okay, 5-minute periods for however long. I wrote out a 2.5-hour script right here. Okay, so if y'all can see this, you'll kind of see what's going on throughout practice. And these are what coaches walk around with. If you go out to a high school football practice or a college football practice, coaches have these in their back pocket, and they're labeled just like this. Okay, 3/5/2021. So that's today's date. Spring practice number 1. Okay, we're gonna start practice with a 10-minute pre-practice period. The hell is pre-practice? Well, pre-practice is, you know, quarterback center exchange. Quarterbacks and centers over there getting snaps, right? Maybe quarterbacks getting arms loose just a little bit. Wide receivers over there working on their release, getting loose or loosened up. You know, offensive linemen over there with ND periods, kind of being fat, doing whatever, conserving energy for practice. DBs kind of working their drops, right? Every team or every position group is kind of doing their own thing in pre-practice, okay? Except for quarterbacks and centers, they're doing QC exchange. Now, to start practice, you come out periods 3 and 4, if y'all can see that. I know looks like my screen is a little bit over, so let me move this over for you. Okay, if you see right there, periods 3 and 4, we got team stretch, right? That's when you see dog jacks, right? Everybody clap, dog jacks, all that good stuff. So that's where you see that, okay? Pre-practice or team stretch, okay? And then immediately starting in period 5, and I don't know if this is good television for you, but this is educational stuff that I feel like a lot of people don't know about the game of football that they love so much, right? You love your dogs. Y'all love your dogs. Find out how they're doing stuff right here. Because I guarantee you they got practice schedules that look identical to this. Maybe not identical, but almost like it. All right. So period 5, offensive line headed straight to indies. Okay, individual period. This is when offensive line's down there with Matt Luke, defensive line's down there with Trey Scott. The big boys are with their position coaches, getting in their work for the day, doing whatever they got to do. Immediately, right after team stretch, our skill position players. Okay, our corners, our DBs, our corners, our safeties, our wide receivers, our ball catchers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks. They are going to go do routes on air immediately. Okay, right after that, while offensive line's still down here doing indie, okay, starting at period 7, skill guys are going to go do their indie period. This segment seemed a lot cooler when I was. Y'all help me out in the comments. If y'all hate this, let's just get out of it. We'll get to Thor. But if it's educational, if it's informative, let me know. All right, period 12, we're going to one-on-ones. I don't know if you ever seen college one-on-ones. Them things are brutal, okay? And I put in 15 minutes worth of the schedule right here for one-on-ones. They're going to hate that. I promise you. The veterans, they're going to despise that. They're going to hate coach when they see it. Skill guys are going to do one-on-ones during the same time. Now, as soon as period 15 hits, we're going into half line, okay? We are going into half line drill. What is that? That is center to tackle, shade technique or 3 technique out to a 7, okay? We're going to get half line work, offense, defensive line. Meanwhile, skill guys are doing 7-on-7. Now, at period 18, this is where the boys become the men right here. It's where boys become men, okay? If you've ever done inside zone run period, okay, first of all, let me speak from an offensive line perspective because I'm just gonna go and lay the truth down. For any of you bullcrap defensive coordinators that are watching this right now, I got something for you. It's a 9-on-7 drill, first of all, okay? You got the down linemen, you got your linebackers, and you got your 2 safeties. If defenses aren't winning inside run period, your defense is boo-boo. Okay, so stop all the trash talking. I used to hate that, okay? For those who don't know, inside run period is a 9-on-7 period, okay? There are 9 defenders. There are 7 offensive players, and every single play is a run play. It's inside run. Everyone on the field knows it's a run play. The defense is just absolutely freaking teeing off on everything. They're coming downhill so daggum fast that angles aren't even right. I mean, it's just completely bullcrap. I hated it my whole entire life, if you can't tell by my tone. So you defense coordinators out here that are out here talking trash because you shut down offense during inside zone run or inside run period. By God, I freaking hope so, you clown. But inside run, always where men become boys. 9 times out of 10, if you've got to fight, your first day of practice or your second day of practice. It happened in inside zone or inside run period. There was some offensive lineman that finished too hard on a defender, and he didn't like it. Next thing you know, it's a kerfuffle going out on the field. So that's what happens there. Now, finally, if you'll see here, I got 10 periods or eight or 9 periods worth of team. That's 11 on 11. Okay, that will be full scrimmage I would say they scrimmage probably 3 times a week. Okay, they'll scrimmage on Tuesday, they'll scrimmage on Thursday. We'll see you again on Saturday. So there you go. That's kind of a college football, if you will, schedule for you. That's how it looks, and it's fun, right? Super, super fun. Just like running an entire daggum show by yourself. How about the autofocus picking back up, getting that nice skin tone up in here? So that was our spring practice schedule. Coming up next, I got our boy Dicko. Or not our boy Dicko. Our boy Dicko's in Texas. I got our boy Thor. Now, Thor, let me unmute yourself over there. Introduce the people to just who Thor is and why he's here tonight. And what you're doing. If you would, please unmute yourself, sir, and hop in here. There you go. What you got, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Brooks?
Brooks. So proper when he first gets on air. First of all, Thor, you were texting me today. How nervous are you about tonight?
I'm a little nervous. This is a big idea that hit me, and I started working on it, and I'm about to put myself out there for it to be critiqued.
Well, don't be nervous, okay? Because you're just talking to a buddy. It's just pals in here, kicking it around. But let's go ahead, and I guess I will share. I've had very, very bad problems with share screens tonight, so we will just drag this over to the big joker over here. Okay.
So there's like there's a 30 to 45 second delay between the Discord and the YouTube channel. Let me know when you got me up.
Hold on. I'll share screen on our Discord over there. Okay, that's what we got all this for. And I don't know if it's sharing because we were having problems with this the other night. Okay, yeah. Just kind of audio cue me through your slides. All right, you got your slides up in front of you too.
I do too. I did. I put you in front of the YouTube so that I can stay on track because we're ahead of the YouTube.
All right, we are at the beginning of your slide.
All right, so basically, I know a lot of people like you're starting with a meme. So a meme is a one-dimensional idea that a lot of people say, this kind of represents me and it's kind of a thing. This guy, CFTIN on Instagram, he puts out some funny stuff. So I kind of took his stuff, but I want to give him credit and let it, and so people can go find him and look at it. He gets me sometimes.
Okay.
However, so of all the things that never happened, this didn't happen the most, but it is a sentiment that's out there. A lot of Florida fans grabbed this and bit onto it when after everything was said and done with the SEC championship. They were like, hey, we deserve a spot because we're the only ones who's ever taken Alabama that close to a win. And Florida did play a good game against Alabama. Oh, I'm nauseous from saying that. So, but when it all comes down to it, a meme is a one-dimension sentiment that's out there that nobody's saying. Can you hit the next slide?
Yeah.
All right. So the next slide, as you see, is another one of CFTN's on Instagram's things. Jimbo Fisher here. So this was the thing.
You want me to read the quote?
Absolutely, you can if you want.
All right, this is a direct quote from Jimbo Fisher. I'm assuming this is right after they were left out of the playoffs. It says, and I quote, "I just want to know how much Ohio State and Notre Dame pay. Oh wow, pay for their playoff spot. Give me a number and I'll write it. I'll write the damn check next season. This is not a legitimate college." He didn't say this. There's no way. He said this.
He did. No, he didn't.
Okay, this is a spoof. Gotcha.
This didn't happen. Like I told you, this didn't happen. Whew. This guy puts out funny stuff, but a lot of people bit on this as a sentiment.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. He didn't say this. But a lot of people were like, see, he said this. No, he didn't. This is a parody, but it was a sentiment out there. Mm-hmm. And more the people I'm talking about is like the Cincinnati Bearcats, 9-0 regular season. Coastal Carolina, 11-0 regular season. Texas A&M, 9-1 regular season. Only people to beat them was Alabama. Therefore, they had a good say for the college playoffs, and that's what this is all about. There was a lot of sentiment out there and a lot of anger because there were some teams that should have been in the playoffs and there wasn't. And this is what this is all about. You go to the next slide.
Yep.
Once again, remember everybody right before this, Dabo took a swag at Ohio State, dropped them out of the top 10, and Nick Saban had him at number 5 on his coaches poll.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole thing. So there was a lot of this up and down, about that. And I'll tell you right now, we can all agree Ohio State belonged in the playoffs. They did a phenomenal job against Clemson in their shot. And then if you look down at the bottom, last week, Josh Pate actually said this. Since the introduction of the playoff bracket rival games don't matter as much.
Shout out to Josh Pate making it onto the show tonight. My guy, Josh Pate.
Yes. So he actually said this last week. So you have all of these things going on. People being left out. People saying, hey, these games don't matter as much as stuff. So I sat down and I tried to figure out a way to make all of this work. So you go to the next slide. So all this is 8 of the 10 conferences that are broken down. That's all this is.
Hold up. I gotta get rid of my own screen right quick because I'm covering up the top left-hand corner of the screen. Give me 1 second there, my boy Thor. Let me put me in bottom right. Nobody cares about me. All right, let's get back.
All right. So all this
You're
is
good.
8 of the teams is with their teams. How many teams are in there? If you go to the next slide, this is the last 2 conferences with your independents. That's all I did. So now I'm going to give you the bluff of this. In the Army, we call this bottom line up front. You have 10 conferences, 132 teams, 25 teams to the playoff brackets.
Mm-hmm.
This is Common Core math. Just stay with me. I'm going to explain it. Currently, 43 bowl games that are out there. 3 or 4 have not been played yet, and I can't remember the names of them. Right now, only 3% of the teams play for the national championship. That they enter the 4-team bracket, and they go on for national championship. In the new system, 18% will play in the bracket.
Now this 3 versus 18, it's a simple math is in terms of 4 over 132 and what's this 25 over 132. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you go to the next slide, so you're going to see this slide again. I just wanted to give you kind of a show of what it looked like. This is a 5-week playoff system. And if you look down at the bottom, you'll see insert bowl games. Each one of these Saturdays or Mondays or whenever the college playoff committee sits down and says this, they choose what bowl games are at the bottom. They do all this work. They still have all the control over this. All I am doing is I am going to reallocate assets to show that this can be done. I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing any responsibilities. I'm not taking any power or any money away from anyone. All I'm doing is reallocating assets once again to show that this works. If you go to the next slide, please.
Can we hold here for a second? Or are you going to do a better job of like explaining the first 8 guys or the 8 teams that get buys, things like that? Are you coming back to that?
Yeah, I'm coming back to that.
All right, next slide. What do you got?
Next slide. All right, so if you look to your left-hand side, you have an 11-week regular season schedule.
Mm-hmm.
11 weeks. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Just because there's 11 weeks in this schedule doesn't mean you have to field your team for all 11 weeks. There is room inside of this for 6 to 7 in-conference games, 2 or 3 cupcake games, because those teams need that money for their programs. 1 out-of-conference big games, i.e., Georgia Clemson, Georgia Oklahoma, Georgia Notre Dame, Georgia Ohio State. These are the games that I am talking about. So you can fit all of that with 1, maybe 2 bye weeks within your 11-game season.
So
then,
if I could, and I'm just kind of spitballing as we go at this because I haven't seen this full presentation, but 6 to 7 conference games would alleviate and remove crossover games, right? I mean, Georgia's not playing Auburn anymore unless you just make them a random 7 conference games. How are you attacking that?
Just as random 7 conference games.
Okay.
I mean, and we're going to get to that on the next slide. And,
All right.
and so I told you, I'm not taking anything. So if you look in the bottom right-hand corner,
Yeah.
you'll see one of the 10 conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have each one of them give up 2 teams plus 5 at-large bids chosen by the committee. That's 25 teams. I told you it was Common Core, but we'll get there. So if you're ready to go to the next slide, I'll put it down for you.
Oh, responsibilities of conferences and committees. You want me to read this for you?
If you want to read it.
All right, so starting with the conferences, this is their job, right? This is what they have to do. They have to organize each conference into a region, feed the conference championship and playoffs. Explain that one. Organize each conference into a region, feed the conference championship and playoffs.
Yeah, so SEC is already there. You have an East and a West, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of it, whoever's got the best record in the East, whoever's got the best record in the West,
They're
they
your
play
2
each
teams.
other, right?
Yeah.
So you've already got that in SEC. It's already done. I'm not taking anything away. The next one is
go ahead.
Approve and disapprove the schedule the teams submit. The teams are making their own schedules, from what I understand, correct?
Yeah.
Conferences just approve and disapprove it. That's what they do on the reel anyway. Conferences do the daily, regular, and postseason activities. Nothing changes. All I'm doing is reallocating assets that are already out there. Now, here's where the playoff committee comes in. So at week 8, everyone starts with the conference starts to take their top 24 and 25 and rank them, correct? They start putting on a top 25.
Yeah.
So now they do that. All they do now is they just choose the 2 best teams out of each conference. Go on there. Remember, I said they have a 5 at large, right? Wild card kind of thing. Well, then they put their 5 at large on there also, and then they rank them. So by week 8 or 9, we should know who plays in the conference championship.
Facts.
We should know who's going to be there. Each team that's in their conference championship, they go on to play in the bracket. If you're good enough to be in that conference
So
championship,
basically, the conference championship is just there for seeding, right? I mean, if you get there, that's your automatic bid, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and then you can just go ahead and assume that those at-large bids, they're all coming from the SEC and Power 5 conferences, right? I mean, if you're going to take Georgia and Alabama next year, just hypothetical, and 2 top 10 teams are A&M and Florida, like they're getting in, right? They're going to be part of this at-large bid. So you could, I mean, you're going to have a lot of Power 5 schools, but go ahead. Each team, I think we're at each team in the conference game will play in the playoff bracket. That's automatic bid stuff. That leaves 5 slots for at-large bids. That's what we just talked about. Chosen by the committee, the Texas A&Ms of the world, exactly right here. Or Cincinnati would be in because they were in their conference championship game. Top 8 teams get a bye week to the second round. Next slide will show you. We'll talk about that in a second. 24 teams play in the bracket with 1 team as an alternate. You're going to have to explain that one. How you have an alternate?
So the top 25 teams, right? I said the top 25 teams.
Yeah.
5 teams they bring in. Number 25, you're sitting in a hot seat. Your season's not over unless we go past the second week of the playoffs. If we're in the third week of the playoffs, then you kind of can't come in. But the first 2 weeks, you can play anybody in those brackets.
So how's that work though?
We're living in the time of COVID. We're living in the time of COVID.
Oh, this is time of COVID.
Yeah, teams can't field a team because of they're sick or something happens. God forbid somebody gets caught in a scandal or something.
All right.
Please, I'm not saying somebody. All I'm saying is
our PowerPoint's not really holding water anymore, but you're good. I mean, we probably should just cut off at 24 there. I'll tell you my idea for solving all this. All right, here in a second. Decide where and when the last 18 bowls will be played and who will play in them. Each team in the bracket is single elimination, obviously, right?
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at this. Or you want me to go back?
No, we can go to the next slide. Next slide
Okay,
should be
back to our bracket.
So as you see, the very top line is the week. It starts all the way out on the ends and comes into the center. You have week 1 starting December, 2 December, 3 December.
Yeah.
Week 4, you have 2 bye weeks for the holidays and New Year's. And then you have the first week of January, you play your quarterfinals, and then your national championships played the 5th week and the 2nd week of January. They played it on the 11th this year. 15th is just the Saturday after the 11th. So anytime in that week. This is the exact same week that they played the championship
Elite.
this year. So, and if you look at the very bottom, you have insert team bowls that didn't make the playoffs. That is the committee's job. They still have that job. They're still getting teams who need that exposure.
Conclusion.
Absolutely. Conclusion. There's no responsibility changes, no money's lost. All responsibilities stay the same. In my opinion, the pros are they're more organized. Rival games will be more important, i.e. Georgia, Florida, because whoever wins that game usually goes to the SEC championship.
Yes.
Teams control more of their own destiny. You field a good team, you have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, you have an opportunity to win an Natty. Also, you have that All-American chance for a Cinderella story. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to see it.
Everybody says they love it until Duke and Kentucky aren't in the NCAA tournament. Everybody's pissed off because we're watching Loyola Marymount get thrashed by Virginia. But go ahead.
You know what? If they make it and they get thrashed, that's the history that has to be written. I am apolitical when it comes to that. And I believe wholeheartedly that this bracket will strengthen college football in a whole.
All right. You want mine? Oh, you even put your little signature down there. Look how fancy you are. You put your government name. Thor is way better than whatever your government name is. We want to do it. We won't even tell them. All right. So here's what I'll say, Thor. Okay? Great presentation, first of all. So I'll give a golf clap for Thor. Okay? If you're not clapping at home, screw you. Golf clap for Thor. Thor, I appreciate you for doing that, buddy. I know it took a lot of hard work to put all those brackets together. Now, let me just absolutely throw a flamethrower to all of it right now. You ready?
Go ahead.
All right, so here's what I think you should do. And now this is shout out to Blaine Gilmer, a buddy of mine that's used to work with us over at Dogs Daily, and now he's over doing great things with Bulldog Illustrated. B Gilmer 18, I think is his Twitter account. Not very often you're going to hear me pub a competitor, but he does great work. And he's a good friend of mine. Let me tell you how he and I decided all this, Thor, and we kind of crashed it and squashed it, all with these right here. So there are 32 bowls currently right now, 32 bowl games, okay, as it sits right now. So 64 teams of the 132 are bowl eligible, even if it means I have to go grab a 4-7 team and throw them in a bowl game. I think this year we had 3-7 football teams playing in bowl games. Absolutely absurd. But there's that many of them. So here's what I suggest they do. Okay, a 10-game schedule. 10-game schedule. Okay, 2 non-conference games. Okay, so the 2 cupcake games. If Georgia wants to play Clemson and Georgia Tech, that's fine. If they want to play San Jose State and Georgia Tech, that is fine. If Clemson wants to keep South Carolina on the schedule, all good. They've got 2 non-conference games to do that, and we keep 8 conference games, 8 of them, which means Georgia still plays Auburn in a crossover game. Alabama still gets Tennessee yearly in a crossover game like they have for hundreds of years in college football. So we don't mess with too many traditions in that sense of the word. Okay, so we got 10 game schedules, 2 non-conference games, 8 conference games across the board. That is standard. Okay, you've got one 16-team tournament seeded 1 through 16. The committee will select that, and then you also have a 16-team NIT-style tournament, okay? A loser's bracket, if you will, okay? NCAA sells the rights to the TV broadcast for both, okay? And does both announcements on a live television. Who in their daggum right mind would not be sitting on pins and needles come December 8th, whenever it is, right? And sits down and, your team might be 14. Your team might be 17. Hell, your team might be 20 that just came off of their best win of the season to close out the year. All those teams now have a shot, okay? And instead of complaining about who's 4 or who's 5, now we're complaining about who's 16 and who's 17. Don't get it twisted. There will be still some complaining, but I think that's the best way to do it. Thor, and I think you're still here. Well, tell me what you think about that, because to me it seems like that's a much cleaner option. Let's just take the 16 best teams. Let's put them in a playoff-style format. Last year, let's look it up. Let's call it playoff rankings for 2020. Okay, this allows us. Hold on, I was just going to say this allows us to get Cincinnati into a playoff bracket. This allows us to get a 9-3 Iowa State a chance. Indiana, you looked great against Ohio State for 2 quarters. Come on down. Coastal Carolina 11-0. Come on down. BYU 10-1. We finally got you in at 16 in that final playoff ranking, right? So that to me is the best way to do it. And then you take teams 17 through 32 or whatever it is, and you say, hey, look, 17 through 32, we got an NIT-style tournament that we want you to play in, okay? You win that, and, your conference gets a split of the TV pool or whatever it is. That, to me, is a clean-cut way of going about doing this. Dicko, or Thor, what say you? You there, Thor?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So when I first started, I tried to do 16. I was on the same thinking that you were on, and it just did not work out. And there's no way I could make it work out. That's why I advanced it to 24 and moved it in like that.
Why were you having such problems? Because you were trying to do the 10 conferences?
Yeah. I was trying to get
that's nonsense. That's nonsense. If you want to do automatic bids and automatic qualifiers, that's fine. We can do the 10 conferences and do 6 at-large bids, and I'm cool with that. But what I'm going to tell you is I don't give a damn most years who wins the freaking Mountain West. Like, who cares? If it's San Diego State or whatever, San Jose State comes out of the Mountain West, fine. Don't really care to watch them get throttled by, Alabama in the first week of the playoff. It's not going to really get me where I need to be in terms of viewership. Okay. But what might is a 12-0 Alabama team playing against a 16th ranked Michigan, whose only 2 losses are to Ohio State and Penn State, both on the road, both by 7 points. You follow me?
I'm following you. But I think you're missing the idea of I was trying to improve college football as a whole, because unless iron sharpens iron, that's the only way I can explain this. Until those guys get into that situation and get throttled, then they're never going to get better.
Yeah, see, I'm not here for, look, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, they are who they are because that's the way college football has always been. There's always been 6 or 7, and I get you're trying to improve it, but again, nothing really. Do we really expect, greatness out of a Coastal Carolina and Alabama game if that would have happened this year?
Next year, no.
Yeah,
next year, no. But in 5 years, yes.
Okay, because you're saying the Coastals, the Troys, the Georgia States, the Cincinnatis, they'll get better players because they actually believe they have a chance now. Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to have more diversity.
Parity is the word. Parity is what you're looking after.
Thank you very much. Parity. Do you have more parity of players across the college sphere because they see, hey, we actually have an opportunity now to go to the big show and play in the big show and win this big show. It's up to us to control our destiny.
I get the big show, but what about the big dance? No, I'm just playing with you. Thor, man, I appreciate you for being here tonight. We're already way over. We're at 1 hour and 10 at this point, so let's call it a night. It is what it is. I like your idea. Do not get it wrong, but I'm since when? And Thor, you're not one of these guys. You don't placate to nobody. Since when do I have to worry about the small school just because it might produce more quote unquote parity for college football? You know what I think is pretty interesting about college football? You lose a regular season game to South Carolina like Georgia did in 2019, you can kiss your daggum SEC or you can kiss your national title chances a bye, okay? I think the best thing about college football is the fact that week in, week out, if you want to win a national title, your ass got to show up and you got to win, Okay, it doesn't matter if you're Alabama. It damn sure matters if you are Cincinnati, if you are Coastal Carolina. You've got to win, and you've got to win big. Okay, bigly. BYU, I don't want to hear nothing from them. They had every opportunity they needed this year to schedule whoever it was that they wanted to. They were an independent this year, could have gone anywhere and played anybody. They ducked and ducked and ducked until Coastal called, and they were like, yeah, we'll go play you, Coastal. But no, we're not playing Georgia when Vandy reschedules because, oh, we got a bowl game in 6 days. Like, come on, dog. Like, I'm here for it. I get it, but I'm here for the 16 teams, 16 NIT teams. I think that's the cleanest way to do it. And again, you get the 16 best football teams, not automatic qualifiers. To hell with automatic qualifiers. Don't like it. I think it ought to be, FPI based and analytical based and things like that. So we're out of here. Thor, appreciate you for being here tonight, or as we should call you, Robert Smith. I'm out of here. We're done for the week, by the way, guys. I'm strictly Nugs and Discord the rest of the week. I'm gonna take some time to my family and spend some time with my wife. JD, Justin, since you guys are here, Justin, while you're here, I want to give you a direct shout out. My boy Justin Nichols. If you're not following him on Twitter already, please go do. If you've noticed, our video content, especially like at these 7-on-7s and whatnot, they have escalated really, really quickly. Okay. And people are starting to notice, and the number one reason is because of my man Justin Nichols right here. Justin, I just want to tell you thank you. You got anything for tonight's show? Thor, quit typing on that keyboard, brother. You got anything for me tonight, Justin?
No, man, good show. Just appreciate the shout out, and looking forward to the content.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, all my football guys that are here, I know some of you athletes are here. Go follow Justin Nichols over on Twitter. And go hit him up for some content. It's some good stuff, no doubt. I had multiple people in the industry reach out to me today. Not only that, tell me that it was great stuff, but tell me that they were going to steal Justin from me. Justin, you're not leaving me. You're with me forever. Sorry.
I'll remember my roots, man.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Stay down with who you came up with. All right, I'm out of here. We appreciate you guys.